Action boundaries. What are action boundaries? First of all, a boundary is what you will or will not do about what someone else does or doesn't do. A boundary is what you will do, not about what the other person is doing or not doing, except that that's what your boundary needs to be in response to. You cannot control the other person. If you tell the other person, you can't yell at me, can't talk to me that way, you have to answer me. Really? No, actually, they don't. They don't have to do that at all because they get a choice. They get to choose how they're going to treat you, how they're going to respond, what they're going to do or not do. Now, you in turn get to choose for yourself how you are going to respond, what you're going to do or not do. So an action boundary is basically what you have decided, and you can do this before it happens. You can know what you're doing, what you're dealing with in the other person and what typically happens, and you can decide, hey, when this happens again, I'm not going to do it. Or when this person behaves in this way, this is how I'm going to respond. So you can actually be prepared to deal with this manipulation or the abuse or the silent treatment or the ridicule or the mockery or the discounting or the person's manipulation, the person's threat, whatever it is that's going on. What about the person's blame, trying to blame shift onto you, the person just trying to be passive aggressive with you, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It can be anything. And you can even do this with a child. You can decide, when my child starts whining, I'm going to act on my boundary. And my boundary is I'm not going to respond to whining. Or when this kid or this adult starts threatening me, I'm not going to engage when there's threats. I'm not going to respond to that. I'm not going to have a discussion. Discussion's over. So an action boundary is basically how you're going to respond. You don't have to explain it to anyone. You don't have to tell the person. You don't need permission. You don't need the person to give their approval, their agreement. They don't even have to know what you're doing or why you're doing it or when you're doing it. Only you need to know because you're the one that gets to choose how to act in response to what other people do. You're the one that gets to pull your power back with difficult, dysfunctional, unhealthy, toxic people, or really anyone or anything. You get to decide how you are going to respond, period. That's your boundaries. You can take complete control back by deciding what your action boundaries are going to be. What are you going to respond to? What are you not going to respond to? When are you going to continue a conversation? And when are you going to stop? If the person's angry, threatening, manipulative, rude, discounting, you're done. Okay, you're done. Somebody starts criticizing you on the phone, you can politely hang up. You don't need somebody's permission to discontinue a conversation. You don't need somebody's permission to stop texting. You don't have to text a response back to somebody who says something rude or mean or threatening to you. You don't even have to read the text if you know that it's going to have that in there. Or once you start to read it, you don't have to read it. You can stop reading it. You don't have to engage with somebody who's saying something that upsets you, that is going to ruin your day, that is going to cause you to start spinning again and obsessing again and going down that rabbit hole of thinking about all the problems and getting sucked into the blame and getting stuck into taking responsibility. The minute you know that that person's in that mood and they're going to start to blame shift to you, just be done. Don't read the email, don't read the text, discontinue the phone call, and choose not to keep thinking about it. Choose to think about something else. Choose to do something else. You can call out somebody who's being rude, who's being abusive, who's being just mean to you or discounting to you. If it continues to happen in front of other people, I would say, as long as this is safe, let the person know, I don't like this being done to me in front of other people, which I'm sure you've said. And actually, you don't even have to say that. That's giving the person almost too much credit for not knowing what they're doing. When somebody treats you disrespectfully, rudely in front of other people, and it continues to happen, you can simply state, if you choose, in front of the people that you have just been embarrassed in front of, and you have had somebody has shown you or shown that they're willing to talk to you that way, you can say, please don't talk to me in a disrespectful way, or that was a very mean comment, or I don't appreciate mean comments, or if you meant to be mean, that was mean. Okay, did you mean to hurt me? Okay, yeah, that one was kind of low. You're allowed to say something like that because you're allowed to set a boundary, and you can let somebody know that was around you that, hey, I don't appreciate that. That wasn't okay. Or you can choose to say nothing. Now, never say anything that would get you put your life or yourself in any kind of danger. If the person is willing to really hurt you, then that wouldn't be a safe thing to do. But I'm just saying, action boundaries are your boundary, what you will and will not do, what you will and will not tolerate, what you will or will not engage into. And it's basically up to you to act on that boundary, all on your own. You act on it. You remove yourself from a conversation. You end the conversation. You don't engage. You don't listen to somebody manipulate you. You don't listen to somebody blame shift you. You don't buy into the blame and the manipulation to get you to take care of the person, to take responsibility for their stuff. Your boundary is your action. Think of yourself as living like inside of a wall or a fence or a house. You can even say whatever you want to do that visualizes you've got these boundaries around you, and you get to open that door and you get to see, what am I going to let in here and what am I going to keep out? Well, if I'm not willing to participate in that conversation, I'm going to shut the door to that. That's your action boundary. I'm going to be done. Okay. Or if you're going to let somebody in, then maybe you open the door until that person is doing something that you're not willing to engage with, or you're not going to respond to. You're going to shut that door. So I know boundaries are a hard topic. And when you think about them, you might think, oh, I cannot set boundaries because I have the major boundary busters in my life. Like, they don't respect anything. You don't need them to respect anything. You get to decide what you're going to act on. You get to decide what your action boundaries are. And the more disrespectful they are, you still have options about all of that. You can choose, what are you going to do? What are you going to not do? And it's up to you to act on it. It's up to you to put your action boundaries into effect whenever you need to. Matthew 12:14-15, listen to this action boundary that Jesus had. It says, but the Pharisees went out and they plotted how they might kill Jesus. Aware of this, Jesus withdrew from the place. Action boundary. He knew, they're trying to kill me, not my time. They're not going to take my life before I'm ready, or I'm willing to lay it down, and it's God's time. So he left. He acted on his boundary and he left. You're not going to be able to kill me right now. Okay, that's it. Not doing it. Next one is Proverbs 12:23. Proverbs has a lot of wisdom. The prudent keep their knowledge to themselves, but a fool's heart blurts out folly. Listen to that action boundary. I've got things I want to say. I've got precious secrets in my heart. I've got things I want to share about myself, but not a safe person. Not going to do it. My action boundary is I'm going to keep my knowledge to myself. not going to share it. It's not safe. Proverbs 26, 4-5. Do not answer a fool according to his folly. In other words, his foolishness, his stupidity, or you will be yourself just like him. Answer a fool according to his folly, or he will be wise in his own eyes. So sometimes an action boundary is to speak back. Like I said, that example of somebody, I wasn't nice. Like, that was really rude. That was disrespectful. Sometimes you're going to speak that out, or that person's going to be wise and going to think, whoa, I can get away with that with her or him. I can do whatever I want. I can put them down every single time I want to, and they're just going to take it. Or maybe you know that by doing that, person's going to blow up because they're going to get out of control and they're going to ruin the night for everyone, and your kids are going to be embarrassed. And so then maybe you're just going to be, you know what, not going to say anything. My boundary is not talking, not going to say anything, because this person is such a fool that it is going to get out of control, and I don't want to be involved in that. And then Proverbs 13:3, those who guard their lips preserve their lives, but those who speak rashly will come to ruin. So in other words, again, you're going to self-control. You're going to decide what to say, what not to say. And that is what's going to give you control over what's in your life. I could go on and on and on with examples of scriptures and examples of times that Jesus acted on his boundaries. There were times that Jesus spoke out just really like, you vipers, you sons of the devil. It's like, if you knew the Father, then you would know me, and you don't. So you know who your Father is. So basically, and even when he spoke to disciples and he would say, how weak is your faith? Like, how do you still not get it? You're so dull. Like, you're so slow to understand. I don't get it. I mean, there are times when you just need to say something, and there are times when you don't say something. And there are times when you're, just, it's up to you. You got to have wisdom. It takes a lot of discernment. But again, action boundaries, powerful. You take the power back for your own life and choose what you will and will not do, and then act on it. Thank you for watching this video on Change My Relationship, and I hope you'll check out my resources on my website.